My name is Kristoff, and I am a mother of 2. I have a son named Alex, who is 6, and a daughter named Miriam, or Mimi as we call her, who is 3.5, and she has a genetic syndrome called familial dysautonomia. We actually lived in Halifax when Miriam was born, and she was born at the IWK, and almost immediately we noticed that Miriam was not feeding properly. She was unable to suck properly, she could not nurse, she couldn't take a bottle. So immediately she had a feeding tube put in. It went through her nose and into her stomach. There was no diagnosis in Halifax because a lot of the symptoms did not emerge until a little bit later on. And when we moved to Montreal, we were fortunate enough to have a pediatrician named Shirley Blachman who was able to connect the dots of this very, very rare disease. And she referred us to the neurology department. So in terms of prognosis, we know it's a chronic disease, we know it's a progressive disease, and we have almost no idea how it's going to manifest in Miriam. So what we do on a day-to-day basis is just, we obviously hope and pray that there's going to be a cure. We also hope and pray that the disease won't progress as much as we have seen it progress with other individuals. And we hope that she'll lead as normal a life as possible. And it's incredible what kind of normalizes. She's tube fed. She has a tube in her stomach in which we feed her, and that's become normal with her and her friends. She actually knows how to use the pump, and at 3.5, she also knows how to use an iPhone. So my experience at the Montreal Children's Hospital has, by and large, been extraordinary. We're now part of a service called the Intensive Ambulatory Care Service, which is a team of doctors and nurses in the hospital who deal specifically with kids and their families who suffer from chronic and very complicated diseases. And once we started in that service, our life essentially changed because this group of people is available to us 24/7. So if we had any questions, we could call a nurse who troubleshoots. If she couldn't answer the questions, there's a doctor on call. And our doctor, Dr. Hema Patel, is an incredible clinician who goes through all of the results of any of the tests and helps us understand how we can manage as much as we can manage at home. We have equipment that we've borrowed from the hospital that allows us to deal with a certain amount of things at home. We also have access to a child life specialist who's amazing, who's actually come into her daycare with us to help train her teachers to deal with some of the ramifications of her disease on a day-to-day basis. And we really, really work collaboratively. This place looks at parents as the experts on their children and really listen to what might work in the home, what doesn't work in the home, listens to the gut feel of the parents, and I think that's an incredible testimony to the people who work in this hospital. The more you share with people, the more you realize that life is not predictable anyway, and anything can happen to anyone on a day-to-day basis. So rather than worrying about what might happen in the future for Miriam, or for our son, or for ourselves, we've learned to live a little bit more in the day, in the moment, and to enjoy the gifts that both of our children give us on a day-to-day basis, and we just hope and pray that it'll last.